All right, how are you guys doing today on your Friday? Thank you for being here. Thank you for already. I think it's like 11 of you guys here. Thank you for the likes and everything on the video already. So let's go ahead and talk about the Strike Series race. I think like four main points to discuss here. One, oh, we already got a yellow. Good job, Arca. Didn't even make it to lap number 3. They couldn't even get to 3 for Dale. When we look at the races this weekend, um, so we're probably going to get practice and qualifying rained out for the Cup Series tomorrow. If best case scenario, we do get them both in, but there's a real chance we don't see much on track activity tomorrow. There's a real chance we don't see any on track activity on Sunday. So we might have 2 races being pushed to Monday. If that's the case and we don't have practice and qualifying for the Cup, I really don't want to put a lot of money into that. That's a long race. That's over a 5-hour race for a lot of things to happen. I think there's just better use of your time and your money in general. You can look at F1, but that's very much just building the same lineup. Once you find a few captains that you want, you just cover all the bases there. So that is expensive. When we look at the Xfinity Series race tomorrow, like, yet again, we might not even run that tomorrow. We might do it till Monday, and so you got a lot of money like hung up and waiting for both the Xfinity and the Cup Series to start on Monday. I don't know. Long story short, my one of my points is being that I think this is the race this weekend from an investment point of view that you would want to put it into. And even with that being said, we still have a pretty chalk build that a majority of people are going to build towards. Anyway, I just think today is probably the most appealing of all the races so far this weekend, just due to how everything's up in the air. I don't know, that's just me. Anyway, so there's that. 2, we're at the end of the month. I still use and I still prefer using the Patreon that charges you at the start of the month. So if you're not a member of the Patreon, feel free to join that if you want whenever the month starts. The reason I'm saying that is because typically at the end of the month, I usually for like one race a month, typically at the end, I usually show more projections or more stuff here. I wanted to give it to you guys and ask you guys, since you're watching, and specifically some of the Patreon members, since there's 24 people watching right now. I know some of the Patreon members are here as well. Would you guys be okay, and would you guys mind if I put like all the projections up on the screen? The 2 reasons being is because, with Nick, Ankrum starting in the rear, and a small number of drivers that are truly like viable, I don't really see it as giving a ton of weight, just because like the player pool isn't big in general. And then we can like really dive into like lineup construction and have fun. Otherwise, we're just kind of going to be here for like 15 minutes, and I'm going to tell you like 13 drivers to use and then call it a day. But I wanted your guys' opinion on that really fast. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll let you guys respond or put whatever you guys want in the comment section from that. But that's what I have out today. That's what I wanted to offer, to just show you guys everything, just because I think it'll make a good. I think it'll make the content better today. Before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about the 2 guys in the back of the field, which is Nicholas and Tyler Ankrum. So in my opinion, the way that I view this is, let me check out you guys real fast. What's going on, Alex? Let's see. Try to start at Patreon today, but it was 25 today. Yeah, you can just wait till the first and stuff like that. Although if you're dying to send me some money, you can always do it through YouTube or through the PayPal link in the description below. As I said in the Cup Series video, I got a lot of driving to do and a lot of trips due in June, kind of unexpectedly, so anything helps there. What's going on? Let's see, Kyle, what's going on? I didn't have a week off. I was still doing stuff. I was in Nolans last week. And apparently I didn't miss much, because apparently the All-Star race sucked ass. So at least I didn't waste time there. What's going on, Phil? Yeah, it's so with no clue of strategy. Let's talk about that. And as I said, I'll let you guys give opinions if you guys are okay with me just showing all the projections and things like that to build off of. But anyway, let's talk about Nick and Tyler real fast. So, look, these guys are both really, really cheap. In terms of just a projection standpoint, $8,300 and $7,400 are usually pretty easy to pay off, specifically with people in the back of the field, regardless if they're good drivers or not. Now, for me, I personally, I'm not expecting Nicholas to race for the win at this point, because that is he's got a pretty big, deep hole to get out of. At that same point, what is it? He's got a, thank you for the super chat and support, Alex. He's got a pretty big hole to dig out of, and Charlotte, specifically with this traction compound that they have on the track, it's really, really a one-groove racetrack. You've heard Majeski talk about it. You've heard Eckes talk about it. You've heard Tyler Gray talk about it. A lot of these drivers are understanding that this is just a one-groove racetrack. You're not going to be able to race side by side. That's just how it is. Everybody understands that. So Nicholas is going to have to get through the field, which he will easily get up to, 22nd, 21st very easily. He'll get to that based on speed alone. It's probably once he gets up to, around 16th and 15th, and depending on where the field is at that point, whether he's getting there on a restart, whether he's getting there on a long run, whatever the case may be, can he get up through the field, to get into the top 10? I'm not too concerned about that, because if Nicholas is able to get to, right around like 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, he's not killing you at all. The only way Nicholas doesn't work is if he's involved in a wreck. And the fact that we've seen him race for the lead shows to me, not even looking for him race for the lead, but it shows to me that he can very easily get into the top 20 and easily pay off that price tag. When we look at Ankrum, he's been a bit slower, and he has had issues finishing races. We have quite a lot of instances to where he's being caught up in things. He's not finishing well, finishing outside the top 20. And if that's the case, he's probably scoring right around like, low 30s or mid 20s, which technically isn't going to hit value, but he doesn't necessarily just kill you, in my opinion. Now, if he can drive it all the way to like 20th, 21st, 19th, he's looking right at 5.1x. He's going to be sitting probably right at like 36, 38 points, 39 points, from around there. Perfectly fine. I find it very hard to believe that doesn't make him optimal, specifically with just the dead zones and salary. So in my opinion, for me, because I was originally going to, throw 20 lines in the Truck Series and throw 20 lines in the Xfinity Series and stuff like that. But with how the weekend's looking, went ahead and pulled the majority of those reserved seats. I'm just going to run 7 lines today for the Truck Series. I'm going to 100% on Nicholas. I'm going 100% on Ankrum. I'm perfectly fine with that. That's $105 between those 7 lines and the 10, 4, and 1. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I don't really foresee a reason to get off this chalk, because it's not like it's not like freaking Ross Chastain, starting on the back that everybody wants to chase in like a Nice machine. Like, Nicholas has legitimately been competing for wins. Ankrum in the Hattori car is a 16th place car. If he can show up and do that, he's most likely being optimal. Okay, and we'll kind of touch back on the other drivers after I talk about the potential lap leaders of Ty Majeski and Taylor Gray. Yet again, let me know if you guys are comfortable with seeing the entire projections and stuff, or having that up on the screen to talk about more. So when we look at Ty Majeski and Tanner Gray, I see a driver who clearly has a fast single car run. Let's go ahead and show the practice speeds and stuff like this. So when we're looking at where are we at? Give me a second. Got to check one thing. When we were looking at Tanner, this speed isn't bad. Okay, it's right up there. It's showing that he can easily compete. Specifically, if he gets a good restart, he has the control car on the start. If he can beat Majeski out of 2, I can easily see Taylor Gray staying out and leading like 8-9 laps. I don't really foresee him leading more than that. But the main kicker for Tanner Gray is him holding like a top 6 running position. And going back to how this track's going to be a one-groove racetrack, yada, yada, yada. The field's going to spread out, which we always see here at Charlotte for the Truck Series. Tanner Gray has a real chance of finishing in the top 6, top 7 today. Now, if he finishes like 8th, 9th, will he be on the border being optimal? It depends on how long he can stay out in front. But if you want to get different and stuff, I would recommend playing Tanner Gray. I think his pricing at $8,700 isn't too bad. Okay, when we look at how he's been running in general, and we look at the fact that he can squeeze off some fast laps. You know, at some of these races, he is getting 3 fast laps in legitimate runs. This isn't like him, you know, being a backmarker, getting the wave around, and then catching the field at a higher speed, and so the first lap in a green, he's getting a fast lap through that. He's getting fast laps throughout these races. I mean, you got to at least acknowledge that those 3 laps, or those 3 fast laps, are significant. We're seeing that Tricon Garage is going to be fast. You know, if we're making the same case for Dean Thompson and for anybody else who's hopping in those machines, we can very easily understand that Tanner Gray can maintain a run position in the top 6. It'll just depend on what else happens in this race. Past that, Majeski has the best truck. I see no reason to fade Majeski. We have intermediate track history coming through. We have current form coming through. We have look. I mean, this is you. Are you kidding me? Is anybody else even in this guy's league? This dude is in his own planet. We're seeing him well deep into runs. Still, you know, basically 174 at the line. I mean, look at all the other speeds of the line. This is unheard of. This deep into a run. Okay, yeah, sure. He went into pit lane here, you know, made adjustment. But even if you bump it back, you know, running this on like lap 9, lap 10, lap 11. I mean, nobody else is even in this man's league. So I just find it hard to believe that Majeski doesn't pass Tanner Gray and doesn't just kill this race. I mean, absolutely floors it. Like, I would absolutely be disappointed if Ty Majeski does not lead from like lap 9 to the checkered flag. That would be an absolute disappointment for Ty Majeski, for ThorSport, for everyone involved. Okay, that's just how I view it. I don't really foresee anybody else being able to pass Majeski into green. It's going to have to be done through pit lane and stuff. You know, what's going on, Kyle? What's going on, Phila? What's going on, Brian? Let me go ahead and look at you guys real fast. What's going on, AD? Happy to have you here. Yeah, Tanner. I mean, it's the same thing with Dean Thompson, man. I think I played Dean Thompson in some form or fashion every fucking race this year, and that line has been dead on arrival. And yeah, JT, we have to. Anyway, I haven't heard much feedback. There's 58 people here. I would like to show the projections today, just because I think it'll make a really good, I think it'll make the content better. So I'm going to do that, since I'm going on a limb and I'm trying to get support here, buddy boys. So let me go ahead and duplicate this. Oops. Because I think it'll make this way more fun to do. And I can answer things just better. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. All right. So there's that. Cool. So, and let me get the salaries real fast, so we can actually have some real discussions here. Because otherwise, like I said, this just turns into all right. Let me move this so you can see. All right. Just because it's just easier, because I'm going to have people be like, oh, what is this for? What is that? So when we're looking at these projections here, like this is where we're at. So I think Sanchez, Ankrum very easily does it. You can see that I have just a bunch of bums projected for majority of this for majority of the field. Okay, Daniel Dye, we had quite a lot of discussion in general of, at least from what I would assume, because there's some people talking about it in the Discord as well. I'm assuming that other people are looking at this too. There are some discussions about Daniel Dye possibly, being the best scorer in the 5K range, so on and so forth. I currently have him for 13 positions because when you look at Daniel Dye based on what he's doing in practice, Daniel Dye is really, really slow. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're seeing that Daniel Dye really isn't holding much value at all. He's really fallen off a cliff here, and I understand. Yes, he went to pit lane, ran a really fast lap here. I'm assuming that he didn't like something, whatever the case may be, whether the crew, he went into the pits quite a lot here and made a lot of adjustments, which you typically don't want to see. And we're seeing that a lot of people did that, whereas Majeski just did it once and stayed out. You got to really consider this type of stuff. Renfinger pitted 3 times, wasn't happy with stuff. These guys are pitting twice. Ty Majeski's happy with the car. Corey Hyman's happy with the car. Daniel Dye is just slow. Okay, and so in order for me to want to have any type of Daniel Dye, I just don't see it. I just don't see it because most lineups are going to be. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place, but when we look at building lineups, Majeski, these 3, I have 100% of these 3 guys today. That's where I'm at. The rest of it is filling the lineup out with wanting to either chase guys being able to scrape off some fast laps, wanting to scrape off not even a lap lead, but scrape off, getting some positions through the long run or hold on their position, so on and so forth. People in that category would be people like Lawless Allen, would be people like David Gilliland, would be people like Dean Thompson, Corey Heim, Christian Eckes, drivers like that to fill out the rest of your line, because when you're working with a Majeski, Ankrum, Nicholas line, that's leaving you $7,900 on average. So for your remaining 3 guys, and so the 2 different ways that you go about that is you chase, as I just said, you're chasing people who are in the 7K range who are going to potentially have speed, which would be Jack Wood, okay, which we don't want to do that. You want to talk about actually talentless. Jack Wood is actually talentless. This guy is just the epitome of poor driving skill. That's just how it is. And he's in a situation where even if he has a good race, this guy has to get into the top 6 to compete for the win. I do not see that happening on speed. I do not see that happening on skill. When we look at where Jack Wood is, this is what are we doing? KBM equipment running this slow? This bad? That's not you are not lining up for success to compete for the top 6 here. Okay, and so in my opinion, we can eliminate Jack Wood from the 7K range. Once you get him to go down, Jake Garcia makes a lot of sense. Okay, very easily we can easily see him, because we've seen him do this before with Bill McAnally, because we're seeing Eckes and we're seeing Garcia week in and week out have decent cars, have cars that are competing in the top 8, have cars that are competing easily for a top 10 running position, specifically on the intermediate tracks. Okay, and so in my opinion, the 7K range makes a lot more sense if you go Jake Garcia. The next play there is Ryan Vargas. Now for me, yes, I have some Ryan Vargas today, in case this race does get stupid. And the simple fact that these 25 points are vastly higher than a majority of these guys here. But when we look at Ryan Vargas, and yes, he had an issue. They weren't able to take a green flag. But even still, this is not a situation where you can realistically give Ryan Vargas like a 18th place finish, okay? Stochastic, Awesemo, stop fucking projecting Ryan Vargas as like the best fucking value play. What the fuck are you looking at, okay? So if you're playing Ryan Vargas' situation, he's easily going to be able to finish, anywhere from 28th to 22nd, but it probably won't get you value. And the fact that he's just really slow this week, it really deters from the situation that he might move up the track more. But I would honestly prefer playing Ryan Vargas over Jack Wood. The rest of the drivers, like, I'm not playing Raja Caruth. Raja Caruth is just bad. That's just how it is, okay? Like, show me a guy with more talent than Raja Caruth. It's at least, 75% of the field, okay? I used to say he's being pushed up too much, but if you are paying attention to how he's answering, like, these interviews when he's involved in a wreck, and he's like, oh, this other guy just ran over us. Oh, this other guy. It's always excuses, okay? Might as well call this man Danica Patrick, all right? Nothing is his fault, all right? So I don't want to worry. I don't want to be playing Raja Caruth here, okay? And, I mean, you can look. I mean, I'm giving him, fast laps here and there, but for the most part, like, Raja's not going to be able to get there, so we're not playing Raja Caruth. Yeah, Raja Fry, right? 65 of you guys here. Thank you very much. If you want to support me, support the channel, you can donate through PayPal link in the description below, or send some super chats and stuff like that. So in the 7K range, we're not using Wood. We're not. You can argue Vargas, but this is where I'm at. I'm not using Raja Caruth. You get to Dean Thompson. Okay, let's look at Dean's history this year. It's practically being involved in a wreck in every single event. Okay, when his teammates are able to get poles, able to get top 10 running positions, able to scrape off some fast laps. Hell, Dean Thompson made it through the field at Texas. Like, that's incredible. Like, Texas is a very difficult track to pass at. The fact that he was able to get through the field there is really impressive to see. He's been able to do that in other intermediate tracks this year. He's just been involved in a wreck every single time. If you remember Kansas, just unfortunate, involved in a wreck. He hasn't finished a race, really, outside of the 9th place at earlier this month. And when you look at his DraftKings points, that's why he's $7,000, because he's basically scoring the negatives every single week. Okay, but he's starting 7th. Can he hold on this position? Can he be right there? The 32 points is nothing to shake a stick at. I think I have it on this one. When you're looking at the projections squared away based on just where these guys are scoring, like, yeah, sure, 32 is actually, this is salary. When you're looking at that, like, 32 is your top 16 in scoring. Okay, and so yeah, his value might not be exactly 5x, but when it's certainly a situation of just scoring wherever you can get, like, this is a race I don't expect the optimal lineup to even come close to using all the money. I would not be shocked to see the optimal lineup leave 400, 600, maybe not up to like 1,000, 1,200 unless we get like really stupid. But I'm not too concerned about hitting value with all these drivers. Okay, it's literally just scraping in whatever you can get once you get Majeski, once you get these, where are we at? Like, once you get these guys in, if these 3 are optimal, which I would lean towards it being optimal based, like, mathematically, percentage-wise, of them being able to score well, what else fills the lineups out? Okay, so if you're throwing this and optimizer, you're throwing in whatever, you're seeing that you're getting Ekish, you're seeing that you're getting Corey thrown in some lines, mainly Ekish based on his pricing. You're seeing that Rhodes knocks his way in. 8 points off of this projection isn't that bad, and it's certainly projecting as a better point per dollar play than some of the 10K guys. And so for the most part, you're not even using these bottom guys here. That's why, like, this slate, that's why I didn't mind showing this, because there's realistically like 15 guys who can argue to be optimal, that can argue to get there, even with Rex. Like, that's just how it is, Let's see. What's going on here? Let me go through and check these. Check the chat out. I thought we all agreed you would show premium stuff once a month as market. Yeah, I mean, you're good. Screw this. And how do these garbage teams afford to run week after week? I know, right? Like, Brian, dude, if somebody could just burn down all of the bum teams' garage during the off seasons, that would be great. Because at least we know for sure we can't play the Reum cars or the Reum trucks. We know that for sure. If we could just, get that across the board, that'd be really good. Haven't we seen him? Yeah, let's see. We're there. Show it. Left for that. Dude, 80. I'm terrible. Like, also my mouse double clicks a lot. It's a terrible mouse. Like, most of the time it'll like double click and just mess thing. I'm terrible. Even when I'm using keyboard shortcuts, I'm full on autistic. What's going on, Big? So okay, here's the deal, Brian, because I have the race here. I'm not bothering to watch because again we're under green. Frankie Muniz, okay, good for him, looking good. What's the field he's racing against? I mean, dude, what the ARC has been a joke since like 2012. Let's see, Majeski is plus 275. I would absolutely do that. I would absolutely do that. Vargas is a bad play. I personally think so. I find it hard to believe that he's going to be able to absolutely destroy the field. Is he a way safer play than other people? Yeah, for sure. But I think his floor is probably 25. I think his ceiling might be like 30, 35. And that's way up there. Yeah, I mean, just look at how these guys are running. Like the first 2 laps. Whatever. I'm not talking about ARCA. I'm not wasting my time there. Anyway, continuing on with lineup construction and looking at lineups. The reason why I like Lawless Allen, because one, I don't think people are going to want to play him. Okay, and when we're in a situation like this, to where this is an extremely chalky slate, this is a slate to where a lot of people are going to be using. I'm not even gonna hide. You know who we're playing. The fact that a lot of people will probably land in a situation where they are debating Lawless Allen versus Daniel Dye. They'll probably go to Daniel Dye based on the fact that he just started a little bit farther back, or they might just shoot themselves and play the other bad play. Like 5K range is dead realistically. You're not playing Tyler Hill because he's not gonna go anywhere. Okay, even if you finish in 22nd, like you did at not Darlington, the last race he was in, it's very unlikely he's going to pay off and be optimal. You're not playing Chris Wright because that man is just a walk-in bankruptcy for any team he's with. You're not playing Spencer Boyd, okay? He's already at his ceiling. Spencer Boyd, these guys are awesome when they're starting in the 30s, when it's a wreck fest, then they finish 25th and 24th, and they score you well. What is Spencer Boyd going to get you in this race? Not only does he have to finish in the top 20 to pay off and not kill you, you need the entire field to die. And if that's happening, we're not winning anyway. You're getting some bullshit line that shouldn't even compete for the win. You're having some dude bang his head against his keyboard, inputting that line, and then winning, and then going on Twitter being like, guys, Truck DFS is so easy. When you completely just enter it with no care in the world for any data point that even matters, okay? So Spencer Boyd isn't working. Mason is the only guy in the back that I would bother playing because Justin, based on practice speed, these guys are just gone. We're not playing Justin. We're not playing Keith. We're not playing Amari. Spencer Boyd's going to get a top 20 with this speed? No way. Anyway, so when we get to Mason, the fact that when we go green, Mason will most likely drop to 33rd and run there all day. It's just how it be. That's just how it is, okay? I understand this ain't some Outback server in this car at Martinsville, but look, he's going to probably run 33rd, 34th all day, but he's going to be scoring better than everybody in front of him who loses more positions, okay? And so when you're getting into a situation where you're just playing whatever you can get in that line, Mason probably makes the most sense. If you want to go Amari, you do you, but the 5K range is pretty much Mason, Lawless Allen, Daniel Dye. I would much rather try and get to the lowest owned guys in that range of who can potentially work out than any other guy there. Okay, and so that's where we're at. If we're in the 5K range, we're most likely trying to get to, and this is where your build moves towards, is it a place differential build? Is it a stack some guys up front build? Okay, because as I said, we're playing Nicholas, we're playing Tyler already. So with your remaining guys, are you chasing people like Zane Smith? Are you chasing people like Ben Rhodes? Okay, in a situation where if I believe, because this is where I'm at and I could be wrong, if I think Majeski just kills the field and he leads the majority of the laps, okay, then everybody's competing for fast laps outside of Majeski. Okay, if you're in traffic, you're not getting those. Okay, Ben Rhodes is not getting fast laps in traffic running 12th. Okay, Zane Smith is not getting fast laps in traffic running 8th. So if it goes in that situation to where Majeski isn't getting the fast laps, it's most likely Eckes, which is why I have Eckes projected for some fast laps. It's most likely people like Corey Heim. It's most likely people who are up front in cleanish air, kind of behind Majeski, based on where they're running up front, okay? So that's where you got to decide. Do you believe that the optimal lineup prioritizes or will end up prioritizing people like Crafton, people like Ben Rhodes, people like Zane Smith, moving from like 14th to 6th? Will that be enough? You know, Ben Rhodes, slow in general on intermediate tracks. When we look at his history at Charlotte, you know, we're seeing Rhodes have a lot of, I think it's like 3rd, 6s, 7ths, 8ths, then clearly, you know, some teen finishes if I'm remembering that correctly. But he's not really up there leading, running away with the race. So if he's getting there, he's getting there based on place differential, which is, as I said, you know, I think 1.35. That's 3 fast laps I'm giving him. You know, giving him like 3 laps led, because Rhodes is always. I would shout out to Rhodes. At least these guys actually like ThorSport. They probably have the best crew chiefs in the business. Most of the time, these idiot crew chiefs like don't want to use 2-tire strategy or whatever. Like ThorSport will actually try and get track position on pit lane. But like, will this 42 points be enough? Will Zane Smith scoring 50, will that be enough? You know, is it a situation where the optimal lineup is leaving enough money out to where you can get to Zane Smith even if he doesn't score, you know, a 5x and so on and so forth? That's kind of where I'm at, and that's kind of why I wanted to show this stuff in general, at least for this race. It adds way more context to the builds, to just everything in general, and how he can compete. So let me go through the chat and see what you guys are saying here. Rexy, I don't know if that's a question or a statement. I do apologize, dog. So let's talk about Zane Smith. When we look at how he's been running in terms of intermediate tracks, which I had this open earlier. Let's see if I can pull this up again. So that's Rhodes. That's Benedetto. Yeah, okay, so here. You can use different points. I don't mind using racing reference just because it's easy to view. But like, look, and this is where, because truck races in general, outside of them being wrecked, like, yeah, sure, you know, him being involved in a wreck here, him being involved in a wreck at Northwoods, we're aware of that. But in general, I tend to trust finishing position far more in Truck Series than I do in the other 2 series, just because, you know, if he doesn't get wrecked, this is where he's supposed to finish, okay? And so, yeah, stuck in traffic, never really had a huge day here. Now, Zane Smith did get hurt in a lot of the restarts and stuff, but the fact that he finished 2nd at Las Vegas, finished 3rd at Kansas, okay, which is tracks that I want to look at. You know, I can see Zane Smith easily going from 14th, getting in the top 10. My main concern is him getting stuck running around 8th to 4th, because he's not going to get the lead. Zane Smith isn't leading in this race. That's just how it is. I think that's too much to overcome from starting 14th to not having. He has a decent pit stall, but it's not one that you're going to go crazy for. So he loses that advantage. He loses the advantage of the long run speed, because he's going to, even if we have a lot of restarts in this race, if you don't have clean air and you're not starting the inside lane, you're just kind of dead in the water, you know? So anyway, going back to like projections and talking projections and stuff, like, I think Zane Smith scores like 50 points and stuff. When we look at where that is here Zane Smith will probably easily be a top 6 scorer. It just depends on what the other 6 scorers are here. There's a real chance, as I said, Ankrum, all 3 of these guys will probably be top 12 scorers and top 10 scorers most likely. It just depends where other guys go. I think Jake Garcia makes a real push to be optimal. I think he's a really good point per dollar play, and things like that. Like Dean Thompson here, Crafton, if he can really move up. For like the most part, there's just so many dead plays here. Like if you're playing these guys here, I think you're just absolutely pissing money away. I really do. I really, really do. I think so. Let's see. Haley Deegan and I to get different or too far for a reach. I think it's too far. If I wanted to get there, I would play Dean Thompson. Like let's go ahead and realistically look at where she's at. Starting 21st. Okay, she has had some better finishes lately. But when we look at the practice speed, we're seeing that I can't even spell Haley Deegan correctly. Like, so slow, man. This is bad. Like, this is alarms are going off here. Like, wee woo, we're in trouble. Okay, because where is she qualifying by? Who is she outperforming in qualifying? Oh, the bums back here, the literal garbage teams here. Okay, so let's say realistically where we're at. Nicholas Sanchez takes Q time, probably starts top 12. Ankrum probably starts 17th, so that bumps her down 2 positions, probably to 23rd. Ryan Vargas, anywhere between where she's at, a little bit below, and things like that. But so normally, probably going to be starting around 24th, 25th in the situation. You combine that with 20 best average and not even hitting. I mean, we got some 170s here, but I mean, this is inconsistent. And this is slow, okay? Like, we'll take like lap 10 in general. Let's just say 171 in general. How many people up in front of her are running equivalent lap times or faster? Nearly everybody ahead of her. Nearly the entire field, okay? So, bump her down to like the 24th or 23rd best car in practice off the trailer. She makes some adjustments. 21st, 20th best car of the day. I think it's hard for Haley Deegan to work today, so I personally would not get to her. I'm playing some Ben Rhodes. I like what the team brings, specifically in situations where we have green-white checkers. But that's another thing. These teams are really put into a shitty situation with tires. You got 4 sets of tires, including the ones you start on. You take set 1 at the end of stage 1. You take set 2 at the end of stage 2. You got 1 tire to play with in stage 3. Okay? You take that at the wrong time, you're fucked. You take that too late, you're not going to have time to get through the field. Okay? If we have a yellow, which we're not going to have green flag pit stops in this race. We have a yellow with like 30 to go. Everybody's taking those tires. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing that up is I would envision Rhodes as being the one team that's like, well, we got 30 laps left. What if we stay out? What if we don't take those tires? Okay, and then they just get ass blasted on the last run, hoping for a yellow. And if they get the yellow, it'll help them out. If they don't get the yellow, they get fucked. Like that's where Rhodes comes into play. That's why I like them based on strategy. They're usually a good team to rely on what they're going to do strategy-wise and stuff. Like Hocevar here, same thing. This is just where I go based on projections. I'm just not on. I'm just personally not on Hocevar. I'm only doing 7 lines. I'm not going to absolutely waste my time trying to cover all these bases when fucking Ankrum is just going to get taken out. That's how it's going to be, man. We're going to get through like stage 2. Ankrum's running like 17th. Somebody turns his ass into the wall, and then he just finishes last, and all the lines are killed, So I capped it at 7. I'm not going to waste my time completely going over it and trying to get every single, combination. I'm already doing that for F1. That's already stupid expensive as it is. So I don't really feel like I want to do that a ton for the Truck Series here. I think that is mainly it. When we get right down to it, there's a lot of plays that are just kind of dumb to make. I think This is a race to where you don't worry about value. You don't worry about point per dollar wise. You just worry about the raw points that people are scoring. I think there's a real chance that Majeski can clear 100 points tonight. And if that's the case, and if he does clear, I mean, even if he clears like 80, if he's pushing 90, that's taking fast laps and stuff away from the potential that these guys can get. And so then it might even be a situation where these guys are scoring high 40s, high 30s, mid 30s. Then it really does take a huge drop off and stuff. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I'm playing Nick, I'm playing Anchor, I'm playing Majeski, and just trying to get different and trying to find different ways to build a line past that. And yeah, I will upload the Xfinity stuff in a bit. I'm not going to be live tomorrow for the Xfinity series. I am going to be doing something, and I'm probably not going to get a race anyway. So no live show tomorrow. I'll be live Sunday morning, probably in between Monaco and the Indy 500 for Sunday. Okay, if you're running 20 max like me, which value guys in the 5K range should I have other than I mean, you could have Daniel Dye if you want, but I think the 5K range is pretty get in general. And I don't really want to fuck with anybody in that range. So I would find like 2 or 3 guys you feel comfortable with and get different with the expensive plays, the guys in the 9K range. Try and get to Eckes. Try and get to Corey Heim, Zane Smith, Matt Crafton, Ben Rhodes. I think that's where the GPP will be decided today. It won't be decided in the value range. I really don't think it's going to be I don't think there's going to be that many options you can go with. I think it'll be decided up front or up top in that salary wise. Anyway, I'll be live Sunday in between Monaco and the Indy 500 to talk Coca-Cola 600, which if we get rained out, then I mean that just takes kind of the fun out of that stuff. We probably want to have practice to go off of. So like, are we even going to play a lot of money on the Coca-Cola 600? Probably not. So there's that. Big Grip, AD, Brian, Clutch. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for tuning in, spending your Friday with me. And if you want to support me, support the channel, join the Patreon, or send some money through the PayPal link description below. And best of luck, guys. I will see you guys later, alligators. So see you guys then.